Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Functional Medicine with me, Dr. Howard Robbins. Uh, every week when I'm not traveling, we do a new show on something on one condition that or disease that is affecting people, and we show you a safe and effective way of getting either it in control or curing it, eliminating it permanently, completely, once and for all. Um, Today, our show is going to be on the heartbreak of psoriasis. You've heard that expression. They used to advertise that for some sort of skin cream that doesn't work very well. And they called it the heartbreak of psoriasis. And that's actually not a bad expression for it because of the effects that it's had on people's lives. And we'll be talking all about that. Get a pen and paper. I have to start remembering to tell people to do that at the beginning of each show, almost each show, because there are going to be things you're going to want to write down. And while the show, and that's one of the wonderful things about Voice America, is archived within 24 hours. So you can tell your friends. All they do is go to the Voice America website, my show, Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins, here on the Health and Wellness channel. And you go on, if you're using a tablet or a computer, on the right-hand side, it says episode directory. And you can listen to any of our shows that we've done for the past 5 years. So and they're valuable. I've done them in ways that they're almost timeless. All the information that you'll find there is not just useful, but pertinent to the moment. And now I sometimes do newer shows or update the shows because some new information has come out that I think is valuable. So we add on to it all. So get a pen and paper ready, be ready to write, because you're going to find out why my first two sponsors are so important to helping with this horrible skin condition. And actually, it affects the joints. It can affect your joints as well as and whatnot. And that first sponsor is PromoLife. PROMOLIFE.com, promolife.com, and write down their number, 888-742-3404, 888-742-3404, because you're going to want to learn about as you learn on the show, about their organic ozonated oils, and that's what you're going to want to be purchasing to help treat the skin cause of psoriasis. So it's very important, and you'll learn which oils to get and everything. And they often give you a discount if you mention that you've heard about it here on the show. So listen to them. You also may want to be doing ozone home care, all right, which for this problem is basically bagging. And you'll learn about bagging and rectal insufflation, okay? We have ozone saunas, and they have an ozone sauna that you'd be able to get for home care. Not everybody can come to the office for Hocket, but you'll listen to the shows and you're going to see why all these things are, the different things that you can do that can make major differences. My other sponsor is Doctor's Biome. And by the way, I now have a show. I take this show and I video it, and you can go to my YouTube channel, Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins, same name, and see me talking to you saying the same thing. What's good about Voice America is that I'm not restricted like YouTube as to what I can put up and what I can say. And that's one thing. Secondly, I know that Voice America is heard all around the world. We're heard in as much as 80 countries now on any given show and any given topic, any given week. Also, you can hear this show on Audible, on Spotify, all through Voice America. Wonderful, wonderful station. Internet organization that just gets the word out everywhere. They have lots of good shows, lots of good, hosts who have wonderful guests on as well. If you take a look at it's a huge number of people and shows they have on all their different channels. But they don't pay me extra for promoting Voice America. I don't get paid at all. But in any case, it's a wonderful and I'm a station that I'm happy to do my podcast through, and you're welcome to listen anytime you like and tell your friends that. So, but go to Doctor's Biome. Doctor's Biome makes a very special probiotic beverage. Capsule powder, listen carefully, capsule powder and tablet probiotics are destroyed over 90% in the stomach. And they're asleep, they're in suspended animation, hoping to come back to life when you drink them with water. They don't. Some small amount will survive the stomach and actually come back to life. And then they've got to populate the wall of the gut where you need them the most to repair the gut. And you're going to learn how there's over 1,300 papers talking about the gut-skin axis. That's what it's called, how the gut bacteria communicate with your skin and your skin's bacteria. And that can help cause psoriasis or prevent psoriasis. So, and treat it as well. So you want to go to doctorsbiome.com, and you're going to learn more about it later on. So definitely write it down, doctorsbiome.com. Remember to get big discount by using the code radio20. Radio20. And I believe you'll still get 20% off your first order. Okay, maybe you'll only get 10. I know they're making changes. Nothing cheap is good and nothing good is cheap. And this is not an inexpensive product. Not by purpose, but by no way around it. And it's in a 100% organic mint, kale, lettuce, cucumber, celery, apple, lemon juice. So it's delicious. And children love it because it tastes so good. And that's not a small thing because children get psoriasis too, though not as commonly, but they do, but it affects their lives severely. Younger people, it affects them, socially. It's a terrible thing. So you're going to learn all about it when we get into the show, which we're going to do right now. So go to doctorsbiome.com. Remember to use the code radio20. And I promise you won't be sorry because they give you 100% money back guarantee. Can't lose. Okay, so let's get into this. Psoriasis, if you don't know what it is, and if you have it and you're listening to this show, which many people do, boy, do you know what this is. It's a skin condition. They call it a disease. I don't know if that's a fair word for it, but certainly it's a skin condition that causes a rash with itchy, scaly patches. It's found on, joints a lot, ankles, elbows, knees. But it can be found virtually anywhere from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. Okay, so it's not uncommon to find it on your chest or your back or your scalp. All right, literally, some people are covered from head to toe with it. Now you can imagine how this is going to affect you. Now, if you go on the internet and you start reading, you're going to see where it says it's a chronic long-term disease with no cure. Not true. Not true. You're going to learn about how it can be cured. Keep in mind, no moral and ethical doctor, nor do I on this show, which you can hang me for, but no moral and ethical doctor should ever promise or guarantee a result. Even if you're successful, 20,000, 50,000 patients in a row, you never know what's going to happen on the next one for some unusual reason. Anything is possible. But if you follow and do the things that we talk about here on this show, there is little doubt, not only will you improve it, but you can get rid of it. Now, it goes through cycles. That's another thing to know. Let me stop, and I want to say one thing. There are various reasons why people get it. We're going to go into some of this in more detail. Sometimes it's caused by reactions to foods you eat. We're going to talk about what to eat and what not to eat. Sometimes it's caused by toxins in your body, something that you ingested. It's not the food itself, but something that was in the food that doesn't belong there. Pesticides, herbicides. Sometimes it's caused by coming in contact with toxins or inhaling them or things like that. And this is how your body's skin reacts and tries to deal with it. Almost like an allergic reaction, if you wish. But some people get it where it's tied in emotionally, psychologically, possibly even spiritually into their body. And not possibly, actually, it could even be spiritually into their body. Give a great example. Many years ago, when I had an office in this town out here on Long Island called Great Neck, very wealthy community, very, very wealthy community, and had a man with head to toe psoriasis and had it for years. And he used to sit with ultraviolet, ultraviolet lamps that worked his whole body and risk getting skin cancer from it and everything. But anyway, one day he went on vacation and he went to, this is important, very wealthy man, very, very tense, type A personality, ran a big company, made millions, went away to Israel on a vacation. And he spent 2 weeks at some hotel by the Dead Sea. And if you know, the Dead Sea is basically, they call it that because the salt content in the water is so high, nothing can really survive in it for long. And he floated in the Dead Sea for, went and swam in it and came back out because you can't really sink there. The salt level is so high, you float in it. And then he spent a lot of time on the beach, day in and day out. Now, this goes back to the late 1970s. He came back completely clean of psoriasis. Within 2 weeks, he was covered again. So he wondered what was going on. Why? He says, oh, it's the Dead Sea, it's the water, that did it, all that good sun. I told him, that's not the answer for you. The answer for you was, think about how many phone calls you take every single day and the tension level that you live under here because of your being involved in business. How many phone calls did you take while you were in Israel? None. I don't take calls when I go away. Well, that's why he got rid of it. His tension and anxiety level came down so much because he couldn't do any business whatsoever and deal with all the problems and everything that comes with it. He relaxed so much that his immune system boosted, and this was his way of getting rid of the tension and anxiety by having his skin break out into the classic psoriasis. There's another skin reaction that's called neurodermatitis. I know I've had it in the past when I went to medical school and I was worrying about various exams and things like that. So and that's usually in a very small area and it doesn't look like psoriasis at all. But psoriasis goes through cycles. So now let's get back into if it's caused psychologically, and emotionally, spiritually, you're going to have to deal with your stress, and we're going to talk about that when we get into how to treat this thing in a more effective way. Okay, we'll be getting to that very soon, but keep in mind that it tends to go through cycles, and that's because people eat different ways and their tension levels can come up and down. It can flare up for a few weeks or months, and then it can subside for a while, go into remission, then come back again. And that's because of all these different, what we call triggers that can cause this to come out. And we're going to talk about the different triggers. Now, you can go to dermatologists, urgent care centers, and they're going to diagnose you with it because it's pretty common. It varies widely in how it can look from person to person. You go online and look up, pictures of psoriasis on Google, and you'll see all the different types and various pictures of how the rash has presented itself. It can vary in color from shades of purple with a gray, scaly, or brown or blackish skin over it. Sometimes it's pink or red with a silver scale on it, on white skin. On dark skin patients, it can just be darker with scaly, dry, scaly kind of skin. Sounds kind of gross, but that's what it is. Children, you commonly see small, scaly spots. The skin can be very dry. It can crack. It may bleed. Certainly, it's itchy. It can have burning or even soreness. Okay. It's not something one can easily ignore. All right. It can become very severe. You can get, for example, psoriatic arthritis. This is a form of arthritis that can cause pain, swelling, and stiffness in your joints and places where tendons and ligaments attach to bones. We see it commonly in the feet, psoriatic arthritis in the knees, sometimes in the hands. These are common places for it. It can lead to heart attacks and even strokes. Okay. Not really clear why, but I believe it's the tension and anxiety level that just stresses the body out, and eventually plaques can break off and cause a stroke, or you can get a heart attack from it because your heart is not healthy and it pushes you. Many of the patients suffer from mental health problems. As I told you, tension and anxiety, but that may be directly related to your life, or it may be in life for the work that you do, or it could be for other reasons, relationships that you have or possibly don't have. People with psoriasis, when particularly its whole body, can have anxiety and depression because this isn't going away. They have to deal with it all the time. They often have a low self-esteem because they look on themselves as not being pretty. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's go to our first commercial break. We're going to come back and deal with more about psoriasis, and then we're going to talk about how you can get rid of it once and for all. Everybody stay with us. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody. We're back again. Let's finish up with people with psoriasis. Believe it or not, there's lots of, thousands of studies, are more likely to get cancer, various certain cancers. Crohn's disease, which is, now this is key in understanding it. That's a digestive system disease, very serious. But think about that. They're more likely to have diabetes or get diabetes. They're more likely to be to become fat and obese. They can get it can affect bones, and they get osteoporosis, which is a diminishing of the calcium in your bones, and your bones become weak. An inflammation of the middle eye, it's called uveitis. They're more likely to get liver disease and kidney disease. This is serious. This is not a problem that's just affecting skin, because it can affect other parts of the body. High blood pressure, okay, very common with this as well. There are different types of psoriasis. Now, keep in mind that psoriasis is how should I put it? It's an immune-mediated disease or condition. That means that your immune system starts overacting and causes problems. That's why you're going to learn why intravenous ozone therapy is an immune system modulator and why it's so effective at this. Um, the immune cells in your body just become more active and they produce molecules that set off a rapid production of skin cells. And that's why some people get this and some people get other forms of medical problems. Um, you see it in, they like to relate it to a family history of having it, but uh, I think it's so socially related then. People eat the same way in a family. They do similar things. The way your parents treat you and the way you react to other people, the way your parents act to other people, you learn to do that. And this is the way you deal with your stress and anxiety. I don't believe it's genetic in any way, even though other family members may have it. Um, but there are triggers to it, and we'll talk about those in just a couple of minutes. So first of all, we talked about what you see, the most common kind that affects the skin. I just told you that's called plaque psoriasis, and I just described all the different things you might see. There's another type called guttate psoriasis, and this usually appears in children and younger people in general. You get small red dots, generally on the arms and legs or on the chest, the back. Um, it's often triggered by getting an upper respiratory tract infection, which kids get all the time, and particularly strep throat. You see how the immune system is relating to this. But these things have been commonly seen, commonly talked about, and yet the doctors aren't realizing what they're really needing to treat is at least part of it is the immune system. Um, Pustular psoriasis. This is disgusting. Besides the others looking horrible, God bless you if you have it. I have a close buddy that does. This is where, though, you get pus-filled bumps, pustules. They're usually by red skin. They can appear and cover all parts of your body, literally from your toes to your nose. The symptoms can be triggered if you're taking medications, if you have other kinds of infections, and particularly if you're under a lot of stress. And that's what my friend that I just mentioned has. It's basically he is stressed out constantly. And we're going to talk about how to deal with that. Then you have another type that I believe is called inverse psoriasis. You get smooth red patches in various folds of the skin underneath breasts, particularly you see it in women. It can get in the groin or in your armpits. Rubbing and sweating seem to make it worse, that's for sure. Fungal infections, which relate to the gut as well, can trigger this type of psoriasis. Then there's another type called erythrodermic psoriasis. I believe that's the name. This is not common. This is one of the more rarer forms. You get red, scaly skin literally over most of the body. Looks like you have a bad sunburn. Okay. And it can be caused by taking steroids, corticosteroids, prednisone, things like prednisone can cause horrible things to the body. Various medications can cause it. Antibiotics may cause it. Nails, I should leave out, there is a form of psoriasis that it can affect the nails, usually in the feet. Certainly it can happen in your hands. It's pretty horrible looking because you get thick, black, pitting nail growth. And it looks like fungal infection in the nails, but it isn't the fungal infection. When you do a culture, if you do a culture, there is no fungus really that comes up. It's just because it is the psoriasis. Now, many of the people that have psoriasis have very poor sleep. They have sleep issues and things like that as well. Um, and again, based on what you're eating or not eating, it can flare up. But there are definitely certain triggers that can cause this to happen. And so, for example, as I said earlier, a few minutes ago, infections such as strep throat. If you get other types of skin infections like fungal infections, it can lead to psoriasis. Um, Weather seems to affect it in some people, at least the research and what patients will tell you, especially if it's cold and dry. Well, you can get dry in hot areas just as much as you can get cold and dry area, times of year. But that can affect it. So some people will actually have it so severe they'll move to different climates because it seems to affect them so severely. Injuries, bug bites, um, severe sunburn can lead to this coming on. Um, Cigarette smoke, even secondhand smoke, cigarette smoking and secondhand smoke from people who smoke cigarettes, if you're around it a lot. I just had a patient who um, uh, came up for treatment from another state. We get patients literally from all over the world. This year alone, I've had patients from Saudi Arabia, Bali, Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, Milan, Italy, Canada. I get patients, and from all over the US. I get patients from all over the world because it's not easy to find somebody that does it the way we do it. We've done more ozone therapy, as you're going to learn, than any one clinic in the world, and I train large numbers of doctors um, all year round. Um, Alcohol, particularly if you're a heavy drinker, um, can cause it. But in some people, even small amounts of alcohol can bring it on. Particularly if you're a wine drinker. Don't ask me why, but it seems wine drinking, maybe just people drink too much wine and they just don't realize it. Certain medications can bring it on. Like I told you, steroids, of course, but lithium, which is a psychotropic thing for people that are depressed or have anxiety, whatever, they put them on lithium. That's been known to cause it, along with high blood pressure medications. Also, anti-malarial drugs can bring on psoriasis, commonly known to do that. Also, if you come off steroids too rapidly, which many doctors often do, they put you on it and then they take you off of it right away. If you're going on steroids for any real length of time, it can take months and months to really slowly wean you off them. And if they take you off them way too fast, which they don't think is fast, let's say a month and you're weaned off, that's way too fast. It could take months if you've been on them for even just a few weeks to wean you off of them slowly. Certainly, rapid withdrawal from injected steroids can do the same as the oral steroids. So keep that in mind. HIV, very common to see it when people have HIV because their immune system is so compromised. Okay. People that are overweight, obese, seem to commonly get psoriasis. That's because their diet is so poor, and their stress levels can be so high. So this is some of the reasons why people get these things so severely. So let's talk about how to fix it. Okay. First of all, foods. Now, you know what? I'm going to get to foods last. Let's start with real serious stuff to fix it. really makes a difference. Foods do too, and we're going to talk about what to eat and what not to eat. But you need a healthy gut. I just looked it up today just to see, and there's over 1,300 papers talking about what is called the gut-skin axis. Why they call these everything relating to the bacteria in the gut an axis, I don't know. But basically, they're saying there's a very strong connection between the gut bacteria communicating with your skin and your skin bacteria. Okay, our body is loaded with bacteria both inside and out, and the gut bacteria, and remember, 90% of your immune system comes from your gut. Okay, so there's a direct connection there. Over 1,300 papers talk about the gut skin axis. So if you don't have a healthy gut, now why wouldn't you have a healthy gut? If you eat red meat or chicken that isn't organic or farm raised fish, you're going to get uncooked out doses of antibiotics. Perhaps you've had an antibiotic even once in your lifetime. And I don't care if you burn the meat, you cannot cook out those antibiotics. This tends to kill all the good biome, all the good bacteria in your gut rapidly, almost instantly. You have to repair the wall of your gut. And that's why you need probiotics that can survive the stomach acids and the bile salts of the small intestine, and then they have to be alive to begin with. That is a key and very important feature. If they're in capsule, powder, or tablet form, they're in suspended animation. You have to wait for them, hopefully, to come back to life and become awake again, grow into healthy, active adults. And then the next thing is they have to populate the wall of the gut. Well, this just doesn't happen. You need a probiotic that is living to begin with. And that's why I recommend Doctor's Biome, because it's a living liquid probiotic, living in a 100% organic mint, kale, lettuce, cucumber, celery, apple, lemon juice, which is the prebiotic, the food the bacteria need to grow in number and in strength. So it's actually growing every day from the date that's on the bottle. It's not a date of expiration, it's a date of manufacture. And within weeks, from the 27 billion they start with, it goes into the 50s to 60 billions. Within a month of that date, it's well over 100 billion, could be several hundred billion. Okay, so the probiotics are called smart probiotics as well. So not only are they next generation, meaning created to survive the stomach acids, but they're all smart probiotics. They didn't go to Harvard or Yale, or Cambridge or Eton. They were created to survive the stomach and stick to the wall of the gut. That's where you need to get bad bacteria killed off by them, and then keep yeast in balance again. By repairing the gut wall, the gut can now communicate with your skin and help reduce and eliminate psoriasis. You may not even need anything else. When you have psoriasis, you want to do 2 bottles. They come in 2-ounce shots, 2 bottles a day, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. Okay, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, at least a half hour before breakfast and a half hour before dinner. If you're going to eat breakfast or dinner, doesn't matter. You just want it on an empty stomach. Next, so that's, I can't emphasize, and please, you can't make 15 patented strains in home remedies. In other words, kefir, and you want to stay away from dairy, as you're going to learn, but kefir and yogurt and sauerkraut and kimchi just doesn't cut it. Nor does kombucha, because of the alcohol that's in it and the sugar. And that's also something you want to stay away from. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how to get rid of it. And we're going to go to our last commercial break a little early, so I have a few more minutes when we come back and I don't have to stop. Everybody stay with us. We will be right back. Hello, everybody. So let's get into the next most important thing, not particularly in order, then. So you need to repair your gut. Key and essential. Maybe you'll win without doing it. I doubt it. You need to do it. It's not a choice, it's a must. I'm nobody's boss. I don't really care what you do, but if you want to get rid of this, you should take my advice and do what I'm suggesting. The next is ozone therapy. Intravenous ozone therapy has been proven to help this problem because it cleanses, detoxifies, boosts the immune system, and modulates the immune system. Particularly the direct IV method has been proven for this. The DIV method, my version is called Robbins method of DIV. It's probably the simplest method. It can be used in virtually everyone because if it's done correctly, it's using little itty bitty baby needles. It's painless. You can listen to the show that I did called Intravenous Ozone Therapy, everything you need to know. So go to archives and listen to that show. It goes over all the different methods and why I use the methods that I use. And you don't need big, strong veins for the DIV method, so everybody can be helped. It makes it real easy and it's fast. And you see results generally within about 36 treatments, if not sooner. You start to see your skin clearing, provided you're doing the other things that you need to do to help. Okay. Another way that helps right after we do the intravenous ozone is you can go into what we keep in the office called Hocket. Listen to the show on Hocket. HOCATT. I'm actually going to repeat this show right after next week because I'll be traveling here on Voice America. And you can go back in archives now and listen to the show. It's a special type of ozone sauna. Only your head sticks out. So you don't actually smell anything. It doesn't help your head in that respect, but the rest of your body. And you're attacking it from the outside in because it puts the ozone into your skin and actually even into your blood. And it can be set for skin problems. It does 8 different therapies all at once. So 30 minutes after your IV ozone, you can go sit in the Hocket, which is a 30-minute treatment. And it's amazingly wonderful for patients with psoriasis. They sometimes see very rapid changes and healings take place. You can go to Promo Life and you can get some of their organic ozonated oils. We keep them in the office for our patients. The jojoba oil is a good one to start with, and then move on to either olive oil or their sunflower oil. The sunflower oil holds more ozone, slightly a little bit more than the olive oil does, jojoba a little bit less, but they absorb very rapidly into the skin. So they moisturize the skin, they get rid of that dry, scaly nature of it. And because you may get a little temporary redness, so you might want to use this each evening when you come home. Or you could use it on your body that's hidden by clothes. Rub it excuse me, getting a little dry. Rub a small amount in to each patchy area and let it absorb for a few minutes before you put clothes on and stuff. You can put it on right after a shower, for example, or if you come out of a bath. It's very, very valuable to use then as well. And you can get it from PromoLife at promolife.com. Remember to mention the show. They'll give you some kind of a discount, I believe. Ozone sauna. Well, we have Hocket in the office. That's a $50,000 machine that you're going to get into and do several times a week for this, at least once a week, but more is better. Those of you that can't afford to buy one for your home can get an ozone sauna from Promo Life. It's very easy to set up. They're very compact. You can fit it into any apartment because they're not gigantic. And you can do an ozone sauna at home. And that can be beneficial for those of you that don't have Hocket available. or if it's not used correctly by the place that you're going to, because some people know how to use it right and some people don't. Listen to the show, you'll hear why. Um, you can do bagging with ozone. That's for arms and legs, feet and hands, where you put a special bag on, you pump the ozone gas in, so you can address just extremities for the most part. If you have it only in a few little places on your body, you can do you can get these cuppings that you can do cupping for that particular spot with the ozone gas, but you can't do a whole body that way. You need a sauna then. Can't cup your whole body. All right. So ozone, intravenous ozone, direct IV. This is the number one way to help eliminate this problem permanently, completely, once and for all, provided you're doing other things as well to help. So one of them is stress management. You have to manage your stress. If you're not going to deal with stress, now some people are outwardly emotional and some people were inwardly emotional. You got to get it out. You got to get rid of it, whether it's outwardly where you're yelling and screaming all the time, still may not allow you to de-stress yourself. And it's certainly, if you're keeping all this in, it's not healthy either. Meditation. I've been doing transcendental meditation since 1976. Any form of meditation is valuable and good. That's what you need to do. You need to meditate. You should be meditating no less than once a day, certainly twice a day is better, for at least 20 minutes each time. There's various ways to meditate. We've never really done a show on meditation, so I can't refer you to one. But you can take courses in it. You can learn about how to do it, possibly through YouTube and things like that. But meditation is extremely valuable here. If you're having problems in your relationships, you need to deal with them in an effective way. If you're not dealing with them in an effective way, you're not going to get rid of your tension and anxiety that can lead to this developing. And psychologically and socially, it becomes a problem, because if you're covered with this stuff, how do you develop a relationship with somebody that may be turned off to you because of it? And a lot of people have had that happen, and they don't have a social life, an intimate social life, which they would love to have. And it affects them emotionally and psychologically and even spiritually also, again. So it's all like a vicious circle that you have to turn around. The physical things are easy to do. Okay. Now, in the time that I have left, which isn't much, there are foods that can trigger outbreaks of this. So you want to avoid these foods. And when I say avoid, eliminate them. Okay. Gluten, foods that contain gluten, alcohol, dairy and dairy products, red meat, white sugar, refined sugars of all kinds, though sugar in general of any kind might cause it. Certainly refined sugars can bring it out. Citrus fruits, while it's great to eat berries, avoid citrus fruits. Eggs. Many people who eat eggs, I love eggs. I eat eggs several times a week. It's the perfect protein. But if you have psoriasis, at least if you're going to eat an egg, try only organic eggs, and see, from cage-free chickens, and see if that doesn't make a difference. Okay, you are what you eat, and if you're eating eggs that aren't basically from healthy animals, it could affect you adversely. Avoid, obviously, then foods that are high in sugar. Avoid caffeine, minimize caffeine and caffeinated beverages. They weaken your immune system if you drink too much of it. And some people live drinking coffee and other caffeinated beverages like like various teas, for example. Um, uh, avoid, desserts and baked goods basically have refined flours and refined wheat products in it, which has gluten, and then there's sugar in it. And that's why you want to minimize junk food as much as you possibly can, as well as soda and malt drinks and stuff like that. Watch out for packaged food. Healthy, fresh food is the way to go. Okay, healthy, fresh food is the way to go. Uh, Fish, plant-based proteins such as organic tofu or organic tempeh is probably the better way to go for that. Um, Green leafy vegetables, very valuable. The cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower are very healthy for this. And berries, organic berries only. Stay away from berries that are not organic. They can be loaded. They absorb more pesticides and herbicides than almost any other food. Um, Organic nuts and seeds are very valuable also because they give you healthy oils that are necessary. Olive oil, particularly only use organic olive oils. I find that if it's not organic, sometimes it can cause outbreaks. But generally, if you're using organic olive oil, it won't cause you trouble. And if you're going to eat grains, eat whole grains. And stay away from wheat in general. There's plenty of other grains like quinoa and whatnot that you can eat to make up for this. And now there's plenty of pastas that are made from other grain other than wheat, so you don't have to be doing wheat in any form whatsoever. Basically speaking, what you're going to be going on is called a Mediterranean diet, because a Mediterranean diet emphasizes plant-based foods and healthy fats. Okay. So you can look up Mediterranean diet if you want to be more, and get more information about it. We just don't generally have the time on this show. I would have to do a show just on that alone, practically, to give you all the details about it. Maybe I will one day. I'm still dealing with diseases and conditions. I have all the vitamins and minerals that I want to do some shows on to talk about their benefits as well. If you have any questions, first of all, if you want to get ozone therapy, call my office in Manhattan. It's 212-581-0101. That's 212-581-0101. Literally, nobody beats my fees in North America. I don't discuss fees on this show. Nobody comes close to us. I tried to price myself so people can afford me, not just the wealthy and financial elite. So 212-581-0101. You can email me at ozone doctor, OZONEDOCTOR, all spelled out, one word, ozone doctor at yahoo.com, YAHOO, ozone doctor at yahoo.com. If you want to get Doctor's Biome, go to doctorsbiome.com, DOCTORSBIOME.com. Remember to put the code radio20 in. And this way you'll get 20% off your first order. And it's a big savings. And if you go on AutoShip, it's being sold all over the EU through Nutrimed. You can go to Nutrimed, Nutrimed. Tell them if you speak to somebody there, I sent you, or that you heard about it here on the Dr. Robbins show. And you can get it all over the EU that way. They may even be able to ship into Eastern Europe, for that matter, where you're not in an EU country. You can, it's now going to be sold soon in Southeast Asia. Right now, I think you can get it from Singapore. I'm not sure from who, but they'll let you know. And of course, they can ship around the world, where shipping is free here in the US. You do have to pay extra shipping charges when it goes around the world. In addition, remember to go to PromoLife, PROMOLIFE.com, And to get your ozonated oils or your ozone sauna. You can do rectal insufflation at home. Listen to my show on ozone home care, which can certainly help you. Call them at 888-742-3404. 888-742-3404. Tell them you heard about it here on Dr. Robbins' show, and they'll do something special for you. Everybody, it's been a pleasure. Stay healthy, stay well. Tell all your friends about our show. Listen to our show and listen to some of the past shows. I promise you won't be sorry. Or if you get something, look up to see if we've done a show on it in the past. And certainly trust me, you'll be able to use the information there to help you significantly get well. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you all again next week here on Functional Medicine with Dr. Robbins. Bye now.